The old tattoo didn't seem like much, just a faded mark on weathered skin. The group at the center table of the diner smirked, sipping their coffee, barely glancing at the old man in the corner. They saw no hero, just a frail figure with thinning gray hair, a limp, a tattered coat, and a glass of water. No medals, no fanfare, just silence and that tattoo. But the quiet didn't last. Minutes later, the door swung open, and a young Navy SEAL in civilian clothes strode in, tall, sharp, with an air that demanded attention. His eyes swept the room, then locked on that tattoo. The diner froze, forks midair, voices hushed. That tattoo wasn't just ink, it was a story. Would you have stood up or looked away like the rest? It was a bustling Sunday morning at the Willow Creek Diner, Veterans Day discounts drawing a crowd. Tucked in a corner, barely noticed, sat Henry Walsh, mid-80s, with a prosthetic leg and a quiet presence. His tray held cold eggs and toast, a glass of water beside it. No uniform, just a faded green jacket and a tattoo on his right wrist, a spear through a crescent moon. Four middle-aged men nearby, digging into pancakes, leaned in and whispered loudly. Bet he scratched that on himself. No vet card? Come on. A young waitress, new to the job, approached nervously. Sir, I'm sorry, but someone complained. Could you move outside? Her tone wasn't cruel, but it stung. Henry didn't argue. He nodded, gathered his tray with a trembling hand, and limped toward the door, cane in one hand, tray in the other, shoulders hunched. A boy in line asked his mom, "Why's he walk like that?" She pulled him close. "Just a drifter, don't stare." One of the men at the table called out, "If he's a SEAL, I'm a senator." Laughter followed, sharp and mean. Henry kept moving, but a single tear fell, hitting the tile floor. The manager watched from the counter, hesitated, then turned to another customer. Outside, the sun was harsh. Henry squinted, scanning the near-empty patio for a seat. Out of sight, out of mind, that was the point. He settled at a small table, easing into a cold metal chair. His food was already cold, but that wasn't why he was here. It was about a promise, a silent vow to honor a friend every Veterans Day, a friend who never made it home. This diner wasn't random. His buddy, Daniel Pierce, had carried a photo of it during the war. "Best milkshakes in Willow Creek," he'd say. "When we're back, I'm buying." They never got that milkshake. Henry had served in SEAL Team Echo, a logistics tech, in 1969, ensuring supplies reached the front lines. He lost his leg to a mine during a supply run near the Cambodian border. Daniel died in the same blast. No parade greeted Henry's return. His missions were classified. He settled in Idaho, opened a small repair shop, fixed bikes, taught kids, never spoke of the war. His only mementos were the tattoo, unique design shared by his 8-man unit, and a faded letter from his commander. "To the quietest fighter I ever knew." Every Veterans Day, Henry visited a diner, not for the deal, but to keep that promise. Each year brought stares, whispers, judgment. He never fought back, just carried on, dignified and silent. That's what he was doing when Lucas Grant walked in. Lucas, 27, an active-duty SEAL on leave, froze when he saw the tattoo. Recognition hit like a spark. He approached Henry. "Sir, were you with Echo Team?" Henry looked up. "Long ago, yes." Lucas snapped to attention, saluting sharply in the packed diner. "Sir, you're the one they teach us about. You're Walsh, E4, aren't you?" The room went quiet. Henry couldn't speak. Lucas turned to the counter, voice clear. "This diner has no right to push this man out. If anyone's uncomfortable around a legend, they can leave." The men who'd mocked went silent. One slipped out, head down. An elderly woman stood, clapping slowly. Others joined, a wave of respect. Henry gripped Lucas's hand. "Thank you, son." One person seeing methods enough. Lucas wasn't done. He stepped to the diner's center. This man coordinated 15 extractions in Operation Dark Tide. That tattoo was earned in blood, not a shop. "I stand here because of men like him." Diners froze, coffee cups paused, forks stilled. Lucas went on. "In training, we learn about shadow teams who made miracles happen. Henry Walsh's supply routes saved more lives than most medics." The manager approached, shaken. "Sir, we're sorry. Your meal's on us, and we'd be honored if you'd return." Henry shook his head. "No need. I just came for a friend." Lucas softened. "May I join you, sir? I'd like to hear about him." They took the best table inside, not the patio. The waitress, visibly upset, brought fresh coffee. I'm sorry about earlier. My grandpa was in Vietnam, too. He never spoke of it. Henry looked up. His name? Daniel Pierce, she said. Henry's hand shook as he pulled out a worn photo. Your grandpa promised me a milkshake here someday. The local paper ran the story, the old soldier and the salute that stopped a diner. The image of Lucas saluting Henry went viral. Letters flooded in. Kids sent drawings. People visited Henry's shop to shake his hand. Lucas returned to base, but wrote monthly. A year later, the town honored 12 quiet veterans, Henry speaking first. I'm just a guy who did his job and lived quietly, he said. His shop became a haven for veterans, a place for silent understanding. Schools invited him for Memorial Day, where he spoke of service, not himself. His tattoo, once mocked, inspired a town hall plaque. Honor the unseen. Lucas rose in the ranks, but always shared Henry's story with recruits. On Henry's 85th birthday, Lucas, now an instructor, arrived with 6 young SEALs. The waitress, Claire Pierce, brought her family to meet the man who served with her grandfather. He'd be proud of you, Henry told her. The town renamed his street Silent Duty Way for all unsung heroes. When Henry passed 3 years later, hundreds attended his funeral. 6 SEALs, led by Lucas, carried his casket with full honors. A veterans group replaced his old prosthetic with a new one for the coffin, inspired by his story to aid aging vets. His tombstone read, "His silence spoke, his service saved." If this moves you, maybe it's time we stop overlooking the quiet ones. What would you have done in that diner? Honoring service means seeing beyond appearances because real heroes don't need to shout. They've already proven everything. Let's talk. How do we honor the silent ones?